Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock here on March 8th, 2023, and you're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Let's take a breath. You're here with Eila Allgood and
Michál, Anna.
And we are here to do Intuitive Talk Story on this rather windy, blustery day.
Yes, it is a
How are you
very
today,
stormy
Michál?
day.
We didn't have a moment. Can I just hold your hands for a
Yes,
moment and
absolutely.
breathe?
We can all take a breath. Welcome
Yeah.
to Intuitive Talk Story. Breathe with us into your center and bring yourself fully present here and now.
Here we are. All right. Thank you, dear.
Love you, Lydia.
Thank you to Lydia for a lovely transition.
Yes, and I think she was talking about some fabulous things I hear.
What did
that
I
are-
wasn't listening because I was doing
You were
buttons.
getting busy. Well, she was talking about letting go and expanding into new things in her show before us. So if you were listening then, we're kind of riding that same wave because we've just entered into really new availability of energy in this last few days. And then we've had the full moon yesterday. And then now, for those of you who are into astrology, there's some fun things happening there. I'm not an astrologist, but I do understand a couple things.
Yeah.
And I guess Saturn just moved into Pisces, which is a big deal. It's like, I think, a 249-year cycle. So that's kind of nice. You think of Pisces, you think of gentle, you think of more going within and nurturing the self and being connected
Emotions,
to
yeah.
our source, being in authenticity. And so now is a really beautiful time in the year of the rabbit. We've got, whatever ideology you follow.
Yeah.
It's just all different ways of explaining the entrance into this great new time of really we're leaving so many things behind and we can embody more love, more play, more fun, more loving of ourselves, more enjoyment in general at this time and how important it is.
Yes, and one of the things I experienced this week is, and I've been experiencing it a lot lately, where people are really looking to connect deeply and have meaningful conversations and playfulness with that. It's not all serious. It's fun and meaningful, kind of a wonderful combination. And wanting to, just seeing more and more people wanting to make those connections.
Yeah, well, I love that you're seeing that because you actually have a vantage point to see it.
I do.
Right?
Yeah, I
Whereas
see people almost
Yeah.
every day in town. So
it gives you the
Yeah.
opportunity to reach into that and to witness it.
yeah,
And yes, that is happening. I experience the same thing. That's really happening on so many levels and has been really for, kind of a little while here, which is why so many are awake and moving into greater harmony and
Yeah.
choosing to live in love and choose to live in life. And that's really, I think, the option we have right now. And yeah, if you're hungry for that communication, hungry for that authenticity, it really starts with our own authenticity within ourselves, right? And as we just make a choice to be authentic, to go ahead and just speak our heart, to go ahead and just show up as is, show up in my state of beingness, be real, be honest, and be with ourselves first and foremost, and then with others. And I think you're right. More people are just really ready to do that. Like it's been a lot of facades out there. A lot of things are crumbling right now. We're going to see a lot of truth, a lot of things coming to light. And I think that's going to be really interesting and maybe challenging, but at the same time, really freeing to trust thyself.
Well, if you don't trust yourself, who else could you trust, right?
That's right.
On the way here, I happened to turn on the radio that was doing talking, public radio. And I bring this up because we don't have to go into the details of it, but what I'm seeing in mainstream media is a lot of questions about mandates that had been happening for a few years. And they're having conversations about it. And I want to bring it in that, that it's great to keep questioning, that there's, instead of just saying, this is the way it's done, this is the way we do it, this is the way we're supposed to do it, everybody do it this way. It's like, why was it that way? Why were we told we had to do this and we had to do that? So I like the fact that people are starting to question and publicly question. Doctors are coming out and saying, I agree with this, but this may have gone too far. So
There's quite a bit actually coming out if you look for it. There's in Indonesia, I think there's a princess who they're to have a suit filed against some corporations, with pharmaceuticals, etc., for her death. There's a lot of things coming to light. Many things are coming forward, and I think it's really great to just for us to let go of what we think we understood and to really
just be open to
be
some
open
new
to
information. Yeah.
And most importantly, no matter where you are in the health spectrum, I would just like to ask personally to everyone out there that we all allow everyone to have full autonomy over their own health, and that we don't have mandates or laws that take personal freedom away and autonomy over one's sovereignty over one's own body. So that not be something that any of us support, no matter what you believe in.
Right.
That we all allow one another to choose what we would like to do with our own selves and bodies, and that be where we all make an agreement.
Yeah, yeah. That was a very diplomatic way of putting that all together. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And I also realized, like, when I was listening to that, almost like, and we've talked about this before, like, that's another reality. Like, I don't live in that reality. I was just kind of tuning into that reality for a few minutes. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad they're doing that and they're talking about that. But I'm not participating in that conversation because I don't feel like I need to.
Right,
I know where I
that's not
am.
coming into your field. Yeah.
Right.
But it's good. Like, in general, I myself like to understand many realities. I like to understand what's happening. I'm very curious. I have a lot of mind energy. I like to study of the humanity in general, and being doing the work I do, I'm always, everything's kind of a case study. And so everything to me is understanding it, like just to know, oh, that exists, that's going on. Oh, can you believe this is happening? It's kind of all just interesting that the amount of realities that are happening all at once, even within a block, is pretty fascinating, let alone our world.
Oh, yeah.
We're all having such immensely different realities. And it is good to tune in and take note of something without taking it into your personal field, which is, I find a lot with in the work I do and client, that's a real difficult thing. Kind of goes back to that Toltec agreements. If I always say, gosh, if just everyone did that, we'd be good. Just take nothing personal.
Right.
Make no assumptions. Be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. Kind of simple, right? But that's actually not so simple because we tend to take things personal. We tend to think it's about ourselves, or we take it into ourselves.
Oh, sure.
And
especially if it's a friend or someone close to us that, has something to say to us.
Sure. Or even if it's just information that something triggers, in regardless, it's to be able to, it's an art and it's a skill to be able to look at something with a 0 point energy neutrally on the table and go, oh, yeah, this is happening, and have not a feeling about it. Just to observe it and know that's what is, and this is what is, and this is also all these things are just taking place.
Right.
And just sit in the middle of it and look at it, just of interest, and to understand where we are in space and time, kind of what's the climate of what's happening, where are people's minds, thoughts, projections, what's the media doing, what are young people listening to in the city. I turn on Netflix at times and just like plug on things and just kind of see what are people watching. And gosh, it's pretty apocalyptic. It's pretty negative, pretty dark, it's not roses and rainbows. And, it's like those days are gone. Right. It is pretty, even the film looks drab. It's like brown and black, dark colored film. So that's a programming in of itself. And so noticing things like that and going, hey, maybe I don't want to participate in buying into that. Maybe we ought to create something different. So I say turn all that off and let's create the new earth. Let's put our energy where we want it to go, and let's create together, which first means dealing with yourself and then getting into more joy and play. And sometimes having more joy and play will help you deal with yourself.
Yes.
So vice versa, play, deal with yourself, have more fun, deal with yourself.
Yeah.
And move into greater creation with your friends, family, community of building the new earth, systems that work and support life-giving systems.
And lightening up is definitely part of that. Like, not always taking ourselves so seriously. I had a conversation with someone this week. You mentioned city. And this was someone who came into my shop, and we were talking, and he was from someplace not far from where I grew up in New York, city-like atmosphere. And he said because of the lockdowns and COVID, he didn't have his job anymore, and he and his wife decided to buy a little trailer and start driving. And he traveled before, but he'd never driven like the whole country. And I said, well, how was that? Because he had two little kids. And he's like, I thought like New York was the best place in the world, and why would anyone want to leave there? And now I live in the south part of Hawaii Island on a little farm. He said, I couldn't believe at how I drove from place to place. Everybody was masked in New York at the time. And he said, as soon as I left the cities, people were just interacting and being friendly, and he was amazed at how friendly and open people were and how they were not in the fear until he went into another city. As soon as he got downtown some city, it was kind of the same vibe. So I think it's good to be aware of that. Like being here through COVID, I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't watch a lot of news, right? So to hear someone firsthand kind of like the fear was very strong in those cities, and people were much more chill outside the city. So,
well, that is kind of like this whole thing about the black box. Like, just think about it. If everybody just turned the black box off and you didn't listen to what it told you, what would life be like? And the black box is in your pocket. It's in your living room. It's on your desk. So if we just turned all those black boxes off, would you be scared of something, or would you just be like, the weather is blustery and you would just deal with what is, right?
Right.
So a lot of the fear is actually
is what you're hearing from.
Right. It's brought in through the mind. So that comes into so many things, which gets into deprogramming and not giving energy where you don't want it to go. And, really, what do you want to buy into? Or where do you want to create? And so, honestly, there's a lot there, but ultimately, we have the ability to decide what we're going to do because we are free will beings. And so I like to say our love must be greater than our fear. So, we just come back to, there's a lot of details out there, and the devil is in the details, and people get stuck on the details and arguing about the details.
Right.
The details don't matter. What matters is, can we come into love? Can your love be greater than your fear? Can you just move into love? Can we do that? And what's stopping you from moving into love? And whatever that resistance is, let's talk about that. Let's look at that and be honest, back to authenticity. If we want to experience harmony, if we want to experience that, we have to be willing to move through the steps to achieve that, which means I need to move through and look at my resistance to why I'm not experiencing harmony. What is my resistance to harmony? What is my resistance in each moment? Peel those things away so that I can reach into more harmony as I reach through my resistance and, in essence, conquer myself and move into greater joy, rising up that vibratory ladder to experience more joy, love, and crystal light in the vessel in which we inhabit.
Wow. Yeah. This morning I was interacting with somebody in town, and I felt fine before I interacted with this person, and then I got in the car, and then I didn't feel so fine. And I was going to Waimea a long way, and I thought, well, I'll stop in Kauai if I don't feel any better, which I didn't. I felt like my chest was like, I'm like, is this a heart problem? Like, what is going on? And then I did cutting cords and agreements and clearing my energy field and, inviting spirit to come into me and bring healing. And it kind of stayed present all the way down there. And I got out of the car and I wanted to see the waves. And as soon as I got to the ocean, it lifted. And I felt like it wasn't food related because I know what I ate today. It was person related. And I think it's really important that we can be as aware of that as possible, because otherwise we might think we need medicine, or, you know what I mean?
Well, gosh, no. I just,
You live in that all day. I know.
I
I
love
know.
it.
You're always clearing things.
Yeah, well, so this is what I'm
Yes.
talking about all the time. But I love that you're talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
In that you're saying that, like how many things. And so actually, Eila, in my opinion, everything.
Yeah.
Everything, because everything in my viewpoint is really on an energetic viewpoint.
Right.
Yes, we're body, mind, spirit. Yes, you need to feed this vessel and take care of it. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but in fact it does. And it matters that you want to make this a temple of the living God.
Right, and that was the first thing I checked in on. I was like, what did I eat today? I ate the same thing I eat every day, and everything about it was okay. So no, it wasn't that.
So,
Yeah.
as you were explaining on another show, after we kind of did the cord cutting and you really kind of got the, wow, this really does work, and then started implementing it, you're seeing that. I love that you went to that immediately and you didn't wait, and you actually implemented your tools and you did it, and you saw that worked. You see the impact of the tools in action, because it is an energetic game, this whole thing. So you did you shield up before you went down to the store?
I absolutely did not.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you went down, just opened, bleh, and then everything, bleh, and you just got
something was
bombarded.
there.
Yeah. There's just things. Everyone's dealing with things,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so people just have stuff. It's
Yeah.
cobwebs. Think of it like that. It's no personal issue.
Right, it's nothing personal, and
No,
it wasn't
it's
mean-spirited or anything.
No,
It's just a
energy
public
that's
experience.
not mine, and I don't need to have. And honestly, we make agreements with everything. Even walking in a building, you've made an agreement to something. Walking in an office, walking in a home, walking in anyone's space, you're making agreements with something. If you are, and then we like walking in every store. So literally, you get in the habit. It's energy management, which is what I really want to, get imprinted here, is that this is about managing your energy. You're a multi-dimensional vibrational being, and the more you understand that, it's just the more capacity to manage all the parts of you, to experience joy, to experience ease, to experience what you want on a daily basis, because you are a divine co-creator. I like to say, gosh, the biggest problem we have on this planet is that it's full of amazing divine co-creators, and they have no idea that that's what they are.
Yeah. Well, and as you were saying that, it brought up for me, I know a number of people who are very, they're ultra sensitive, and I consider myself somewhat sensitive. And it's like, if you know how to manage your energy, you don't have to isolate. I see people, they isolate because I can't deal with people today. I can't deal with the going in the store or going in the coffee place. It's like a lot of that. It's like, well, you're kind of limiting your life because of other. But if we can manage our own energy, if we can prepare, like you said, did you shield up before you went in? No. So if you have those tools and you shield up before you go in, whatever that looks like, and then you clear when you come out, you don't have to stay home all the time. You don't have to isolate yourself all the time. We need you. We need people interacting with one another and helping us to expand. So
I would say to that, I work with a lot of empathic people, and there are a lot of empathic people. And if you resonate with that, or if you resonate with being an empathic starseed, or if you resonate with being someone that is just overly sensitive, tools, we're all multidimensional beings, which means we are capable of so much more than we've ever been told. So part of the whole goal now, and if we vision it together in creating a new earth, what does that mean? It means a free system where you actually understand that you have the capacity to be a telepathic being, to understand energy, to navigate and create with your energy, that you're aware of your energy. We just become more refined in our ability to navigate this really high-tech vehicle that we're all in, these human bodies, which are amazing. But we are the soul, the light within it, navigating this thing. And as I like to say, dedicating through our heart to source, to God, to creator. That's the leading, the source energy unity. And then through each of my I being the big I, source, I, the little I get to navigate what source's gifts through this vessel. And that's really ultimately what we get to do if we so choose.
If we so choose.
If we so choose.
Yeah. Something that's come up a few times now by different people, particularly young women, who are very kind of rather sensitive, and based on conversations with them, maybe they haven't been in a human body in a long time, but they're like, it's so hard to be human. And I kind of am baffled by that question, but I bring it up because maybe there's something that you've experienced with that.
I would say, yes, I have in client work and even in my own self. In my early 20s, I did actually have a huge, like, oh my God, all the people are so sad. I had huge parts of being crying and going to cities and experiencing like overwhelm with the amount of what I was experiencing as a sleepness or like programmed realities.
Yeah.
As a young 20-something. I woke up in 1998, and so it's been a while. And that was all very like,
So what do you
first.
mean? So could you describe, like, you'd go into a city and what would happen?
Well, so we went to Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And we were
Wow.
like, I'm like a patchwork, dreadlock,
Yeah,
young
yeah.
person, like
Yeah.
cruising, like, reading every spiritual text I can get my hands on and like,
Right.
asking spirit to guide me. And, I was doing all of those things at that time. And it was kind of like, and it felt like I was in one of those movies like Wall-E. Wall-E, it was like that. Like I walked in, like everyone just like, where's the buffet? Like it just felt like robots everywhere on
I know
program
exactly
tracks.
what you mean.
And
Yes.
everyone's asleep, and you're like almost like, hello.
And they're like this
can you
with
see?
the
Yeah,
machines.
the machines just pulling the arm and
Yeah,
getting
putting
everyone's
the quarters
asleep.
in.
And it was
Yeah.
just all so asleep, and I felt like we were the only people awake in the whole place. Like it was overwhelming at the time.
Right.
And we were like gonna stay there for a couple of days. We're like, no, we gotta get out of here. This is a crazy place. It felt like I was in a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, like it was like Scooby-Doo, and then you're like, I don't know, you're like, we gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
Like
let's get out of here.
They're all zombies. And we gotta run. It felt like that. And I've
Yes.
had a few times in my journey where that's felt like that in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Where you're like, and also despair, even like watching the tragedies, hearing a movie, Amistad. When I watched that movie, I cried for days. The magnitude of the horror that's happened here, and then beyond. Now, since then, I've seen so many horrors, dimensionally as well as that it's been horrible in so many levels, which is why it's so important to forgive. We have to forgive everything because so many things have not been right, and this field has been treacherous. But I would say to anyone who feels like they've just come, or it's hard to be here. Well, you signed up to come, You knew it was going to be that way as a soul, and remember that you actually knew that you held the light within you at such a great capacity that you would remember that within this dimensional framework, and that you would rise up and remember yourself, which means letting go of any I'm not good enough, so I'm not worthy, victimizer programs, consciousness traps, releasing those things out of your field, coming into sovereignty of self and neutrality of the spirit of self, and really heart of God, so to speak, using your tools, etc. That's what all that stuff we're talking about. But yeah, so the sensitivities are about learning how to deal with our sensitivities, because we all have gifts. All of us are gifted in many different ways. And it's honing in and understanding our gifts and learning how to navigate your energy, your field. Because it's like, like everybody, someone walks in the room and you're like, wow, so-and-so just walked in the room. I can really feel them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all energy.
Yeah.
We feel stuff.
Right.
So you're learning how to feel that. And there's tools. Again, I have a channel, Michál Anna. I have a lot of tools on there, meditation.
I've been sending people to your channel because I feel like it could help them.
Yeah.
And these are these people
Free
that
tools.
I'm meeting they are such beings of light.
Yes.
And I say to them, we need you. So
Yes.
you need to get grounded. And I usually send them into the pyramid chair, under the copper pyramid. Go sit down and, just take a minute, get grounded, and then come back and we'll talk.
Exactly.
So it's important because, yes, we are all here because we chose to be here. And one of the things that I've been using a lot or thinking a lot, that's your word, is movie. And when when someone's going through something and they're like, oh my God, this is happening, that's happening, they're in some kind of a drama. I'm like, okay, that's their movie, that's not my movie. I don't do that in my movie, but I can witness them. I can hold space for them. It's that's their movie. That's how they came to do that movie. And I do find that concept very helpful. So anyone who's listening out there, if you're around people and they're kind of, all worked up over something, if you can remember that it's their movie. You're just kind of watching, you're at the movie theater watching their movie.
Everything is a movie. And that's why I love that unattached and amused.
Yeah.
If you're unattached to everything, it's just like, oh, what? It's kind of like I just flipped on the TV. Okay, tell me the story. Tell me the story. I'm so excited to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is. And then it's
Yeah.
a movie. And if you're in real neutrality, then you actually can see it. Like, well, do you want would you like some input? Because I could actually see why that whole movie just took place. And
Right.
if you want, I could help you out here. Like, because I'm not attached.
Right. It's kind of like I talked to someone yesterday and she was telling me a lot about a couple of dreams she had. And I said, well, they're really your dreams to interpret. But if you'd like me to give you anything, I'll be happy to do that. But it's all yours. It's not up to me to interpret. So, and sometimes I find that helps with when someone else will reflect back something. It's like, well, if that was my experience, here's what I see in it. And that sometimes helps my brain shift out of maybe some stuck place.
Yeah, what I love is when we ask the universe is always working for us, like everything around us. And if I'm needing, to hear something or I'm looking for something, I often get confirmation.
Yeah.
Like, someone will go, oh, I just had this idea, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, great. Then I'm on the right track. For me, it's more like, okay, I'm on the right track. That's the right place to be
Yes.
going.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
That synchronicity. I just left the house today and a mutual friend of ours texted me and said, did you see the UFO cloud this morning? And I had just turned the corner and she's in another part of town. And I knew exactly what she was talking about. And she sent me the picture and I sent her the picture. It was exactly the same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I love that moment of like in the flow. You're in the flow because something like that happens.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, I'm where I need to be.
So you can think of it this way. So here's a great way to think about it. If you surf, if you dance, maybe when you're working construction, even like when you get in a groove, musicians, there's lots of places that one could relate. So tennis, whatever thing you do, because you can like use that as your vehicle of understanding the conceptual. There's a sweet spot. There's
Right.
this pocket inside of that where you're like, ooh, I'm just in the groove. Like, whoo, I could just feel it. Like the balls, I'm just like, whoo, they're just coming to me. Or I'm just like, whoo, 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 riding the wave.
Yeah.
Picks you up. You hit right when it picks you up. You're in that sweet spot. You're not working hard. You're just with the momentum. In dance, it's like you're not behind the music or in front of the music, but you're right inside of it. And it doesn't matter what speed the music is. It still feels the same because you're just in this sweet spot.
Without thinking about
You're
every
right.
moment, every motion. Right.
You're in it. You're
Yeah.
actually in
You're
the
part of it.
vibratory energy. And you can feel it locks in like a shoo. And it's that place. That's really where you kind of are riding all the time. You want to be in this sweet spot of just being in the center. We are literally, think of yourself, we are 360 consciousness beings. We are like you have full scope of consciousness around you. So if I sit in the center of myself, to thinking I could see behind me, around me, understand everything around my whole self, because I'm in the center, like we were just saying.
Yeah.
If I stay within this center point, I can see everything. Everything becomes like revealed as I am just in this calm center place. In the flow, and then you're just guided, and it's like you're supposed to go here. Okay, great. That's what I'm here to do. Whatever.
Right.
I'm just riding the wave.
Right.
I'm listening, and I'm giving thanks, and you're just allowing yourself to be in this sweet spot, which is an awareness. It's a place of consciousness and awareness, right? Of coming into knowing that that's what I'm doing. I'm using tools constantly. I'm being aware of what's happening and moving. When you like notice stuff like you did today, you're going, you're not just ignoring that and go, oh, I guess I don't feel good. I guess I'll just go home.
Yeah.
Instead, you're going, wait, something's not right.
Right.
I'm going to take charge of my vessel and I'm going to change it and create my reality. I'm in charge here. So you're being aware, and then you're making choices
Right.
because you are a divine co-creator, an infinite seed of the creator.
And we're going to take a station break, and we're going to come right back. So hang on a minute.
The Kohala Artists Co-op is hosting a benefit through the month of March to support the Bond Library Restoration Project to open a cultural center in North Kohala called the Kohala Heritage Center. This unique show will feature an extensive display of driftwood, rock, and shell sculptures created by legendary artist Kinji Yokoyama. 2 original paintings by local artist Patrick Rankin have been donated for a silent auction, and our members added to the auction an exceptional body of work for this worthy cause. Don't miss the opportunity to see this historical artwork on display and contribute to the Kohala Heritage Center.
Great goddess I am, so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
protecting me. I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am.
The Kohala Artists Co-op is thrilled to announce the reopening of workshops and classes. If you are interested in facilitating a class, contact Kathy at 960-3597 or Kat at 889-6206. The co-op is starting our renewed vision for community-based art projects this March. In cooperation with April Lee, a 3-day workshop for high school students will begin. Tuesday, March 13th, Kathy Morgan, artist and teacher, offers her class in monoprinting. Wednesday, March 14th, watercolorist Donna Hawkins will instruct students in the art of mixed media painting. And Thursday, March 15th, Kat Kane, soul collage instructor, will lead a class in collage developed just for teens. These classes are free and supplies are furnished. To sign up for any or all classes, contact Kathy at 960-3597 or Kat at 889-6206. Space is limited.
Aloha. Welcome back. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. It's 3:33 here on March 8th, 2023. Intuitive Talk Story with Eila Allgood and
Michál, Anna.
we've covered a lot already.
Well, yeah, we were just on the break, we were talking, so I think that's probably a
Yeah.
good thing to weave in here.
Okay.
So we were talking about empathics and people having sensitivities, and maybe being hard that it's human to be human here. Or maybe you're just doing your self-work and you're moving through things and maybe the patterns are hard. At any rate, it's one thing to know that we're in this place we're in and know what's going on and know that you're in unity and, a divine being. And it's another thing to own that in your body vessel. And that's what all these tools are about, is activating and owning that in the vessel and taking charge, that I am in charge of my reality. I get to choose, because remember, we are in free will. So every being has the choice to make of what your reality looks like. So that really looks like is dismantling our ego, dismantling the negative ego programming. And Eila's like, what's that? What do you mean? And so this gets into programs, and you might think of like sitcoms. Okay, back to the movie.
Yeah.
If you watched a sitcom right now, there's some standard ones. Oh, he's the victim, right? Oh God, that guy must be the abuser.
Yeah.
Oh, and that
Yeah.
guy. Oh, he's
The
like
different characters.
The different characters.
Yeah.
Okay, they're sitcom characters.
Right.
We all know what they are.
Right.
Those are programs. That's my point. That program, the victim program,
Right.
the martyr program,
Yeah.
the well, who do you think you're talking to program.
I'm better than you
Or,
program.
yeah, the hierarchy, the bully program. They're all programs, and
Right.
they're all based in hierarchy.
Yes.
Okay, so see, that's duality.
Right.
So duality, if we're in duality, it's a two-part system, which means we have to go somewhere on the pendulum, here or there, here
We're
or
either
there.
or.
We're either or. We're
Yeah.
always going to be losing.
Yeah.
If we're always fighting good and evil, good and evil, good and evil,
Right.
we're going to be fighting forever, right? So we have to move into a third paradigm, which is the Holy Trinity, of the triangle, and rise above all that to look below that and see, well, it's actually unified field. It's unity. Duality exists within the unified field because duality exists at the three-dimensional vibratory level. At a higher vibratory frequency, as you move into fifth dimensional energies, which we've talked about before in previous shows, fifth dimensional energy is vibrationally signature of love, peace, compassion, joy, ecstasy. Those are unified fields. It's a unified vibration, one where denser energies of like jealousy, hate, judgment, they can't actually vibrate in that field because it's too rapid. It goes faster. It's a more quicker field. So see, the more dense and slow vibratory field, it can't it literally can't resonate that quick. So literally it can't go there. So as you move into these unified fields, it doesn't perceive in the same fashion. So duality is no longer duality. That's a framework within one system. And when you're in that system, it seems really apparent, but you look at it differently. So we're releasing these systems that really create hierarchical programming of being this or that. Victim, victimizer, abuser, abusee. You know, I'm the one that plays out the martyr, and you're the one that plays out the perpetrator or whatever.
Right.
These are all roles and archetypes.
Right. If we don't have those roles, then if I'm not the victim to your whatever, you don't have there is no game for you to play.
There's no game to play.
So if
exactly.
I'm just like neutral,
you got
there's
nothing.
you
got nothing.
You got nothing.
Sorry, you got nothing.
Well, and there's something, as you were talking, I wrote reality on two different parts of the paper because I just feel like I'm getting more and more that there are so many realities.
Yes.
As I walk down the street, and
so here's another way for you to get this.
Yeah.
Okay, and actually, you guys could go watch this movie called Free Guy. It's
Free Guy?
Yeah, it's a fun movie, and it's conceptual. Everything is to give you concepts because this place works well, just like what you just said. It's as if now we're going to get the movie concept.
Yeah.
So now you're in a video game, and you just put on the headsets, and now here we are in the Earth world.
Right.
And so you're walking down the street because everyone's from their own reality template having their game. We're just seeing them in the game. Hi. They're like, you know, like they're somewhere else in their game. Hi.
We don't know where they are in their game.
We're all in different places in our game.
Right.
See, we're all just meeting in this big virtual world.
We see each other.
But there's a whole,
Right.
See, so it works like that. Some of your games never connect. Ever.
Right.
You even are aware if you start looking around, you're like, you can, like, I remember sitting one time, I'm like, that person over there in the food court, I'll never speak to that person. Like, that person will never vibrate into my reality. It will never happen. Like, you know, they're never going to touch. Like, almost because it's vibrating. Everything's vibrating to itself, to one another. So when you take apart blame, right, and there's no longer, I can't blame you for my reality. I can't assume.
Can't blame somebody else for something that happened in the past.
And there's no role to play if there's no up or down. If we're just in the center, now we get, that's the unified field, because now you're moving into oneness where you're like, oh, I am you and you are me. I'm just as important as you are. We're all one thing. there's nobody better than. We're all just having different experiences at different times in different levels.
Yes.
And that's okay too. There's no judgment. It's just what is happening because it's a really huge game. It's multidimensional experience. So not everyone's in the same place at all. Everyone's all over the place. And it's like this huge, like a huge treasure map. And some people are at the waterfall. Some people haven't even begun the hike. Some people are just,
Right. And when you look at the whole, across time and space thing, there's even more levels.
More levels because you're bigger than this thing you're in right now anyway.
Right.
You don't
Yes.
fit inside this thing. This is just one framework, and you're really
We're kind of squeezed in here right now.
Squeezed in here on a bigger level. You're collecting your stuff. You're getting rid of these programs. You're grabbing your pieces. You're releasing fragmentation and coming into wholeness to, in essence, level up in your game, the soul game, which is to level up out of 3D into a fifth dimensional mint consciousness and energy framework of field of unity as we become whole.
Okay, so somebody I was talking to the other day was talking a lot about ancestral trauma, and we've talked about this too, kind of clearing the line and all that.
Yes.
And so as we're talking about all these realities, and I'm in mine and you're in yours and he's in hers and whatever, and then we talk about ancestors, so that's across space and time. Like, what is that a thing, or is that just another thing we made up?
So let me explain how that is. So it's not another thing we made up because I've cleared lots of ancestral healing, wounding, and we've done lots of work in that department with myself and clients. So typically it comes back to what we just said, programs. It's all archetypal programming.
So it's like your
instance,
ancestors were programmed in a particular way?
They're my line of martyrs. Oh, well, they're all overgivers. They have everyone, my mom and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Overgive. So we pass down that overgiving through the DNA. The programming is through the DNA. It comes down through the DNA. And if I came from a line of oppressors, through the DNA, I might need to work through that. I actually have. So here's the cool part. Most of the starseeds, that came, if you resonate with being like that person and you're like, well, I come from some messed up stuff, I'm not surprised because we all did. No, because
well, there was a lot of messed up stuff in history, human history.
And the lineages, we have the ability, think of it this way. It's not like, oh, I got all this stuff. It's more like I have the ability because I have access to all of the DNA of everyone who's come before me.
Right.
I have access to that DNA, which means I have the ability to change it. I have the ability to transmute stuff, to call
Right, because there is no space and time.
Right. So I'm an access point to transmute for the line, which means
for the future too.
For everyone,
the descendants.
forward and backward, for all space and time because it's not linear.
Yes.
So at this point, you are now clearing and moving into, like, for instance, we see things like past sacrifices, past traumas that are held in the line because they're passed down. It could be a past energy of a past person experiencing a negative thing that gets passed down to an ancestor. And we carry them, then you're like playing out the mother, playing out the grandmother's life because they're ancestral wounding that gets passed down. So we can break those. You break those, sever those ties, release them, and input where you want to be. We close out and zero out those fragments and release it to the other side of the veil, which are their energies. So think of it this way. You're sending everything home. Everything that's been, it's like all the separation, like it's all one tree of life. And everything that's been separated is like, rotten fruit or pieces of things that have gotten stuck that just need to compost. They just need to go back home to the tree and be returned into the one. So we're releasing all things that are just tidbits of fragmentation that don't hurts, wounds, pains, things that aren't important, that aren't serving home.
Right. Clear them out.
Clear them out into wholeness.
Right.
And returning into the light.
So this makes me think about, a lot of times I've thought, I wish I knew when I was 30 and I had little kids what I know now because I could have done this or I could have done that. I could have taught them this, right? And this, for me, what we're talking about is like, doesn't matter. It's never, there is no time involved. So whatever clearing I do and I do my work, it will affect them and future generations. And whether you have kids or don't, it doesn't matter. It's going to affect future generations. So there's no like looking back and saying, oh, I wish I would have known and I wish I would have done that differently. It's like, no.
Well, everyone could say that, right? We
Yeah.
all have, but regret's not going to help anyone. Regret won't get us anywhere. You know,
Yeah.
we can't change the past. All we can do is move and work with our present.
Right.
And realize, I love what you're saying, and realizing that you have the power
Right,
to
that's
actually
what I mean.
change
Yeah.
the past and future in this present moment.
Right.
Because it's not linear. Time is not linear, and we are multidimensional beings. So it is exciting because
It
it
is.
means that you are empowered to do anything now. Literally, just you get to choose. There's nothing. You're not being held to anything, and that's kind of the beauty of what I was kind of starting with in the beginning of this show, is the essence of letting things go, and that Lydia, I think, spoke about before this show, as letting go now of really what is no longer serving. We talk about that all the time, but another availability for that as this full moon opened, and this availability of Christic light, love, Christ consciousness is flooding our region. I mean, the earth field, and we have availability to clean out, like spring cleaning. It's really the equinox is on coming around the corner. Time to clean out what doesn't resonate with who you want to be now. What is no longer serving you? What clothes, what things, what stuff is just not representing what energy you want to have in your life. You have the ability to make choices and go, that's it. We're creating a chapter. You create entrance points. You're writing a book. You know, new chapter. Okay, rip that page out. New chapter. This is what it's going to look like, and I'm going to do this. Because you're the divine creator. We get to get excited about infusing our gifts, really allowing source energy to infuse our divine essence.
Yeah, exactly. I have nothing to say to that. That was
Well, I
that was very complete.
I think before we end,
No, we don't need to end.
We're
We
not
have-
ending now. But
we have
I
13
do-
minutes,
I
so-
know, but when we do that, I would
Yes.
love to read that prayer again.
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, it kind of like it's the Lord's Prayer on like
On a cosmic level.
on a cosmic level. It was just
Right.
supposedly direct translation from an 1892 scroll, whereas the one we've been given has been translated over and over and over again. And it really speaks so directly to what I'm saying, which is when I heard it, I'm, oh my gosh, that's so it, because that's it. We are here all together to uplift one another into our divine growth. And that's what I mean about ego dismantling. We've been given a very competitive field versus cooperative field in this 3D reality, and in our American reality, competition and hierarchical, and those have all created separation. They don't create cooperation. And so the big shift is moving from a separated field of awareness, moving out of the cycles of separating and death, and moving into the cycles of togetherness and life. And so it's a service to others versus a service to self mentality. And that's a choice that we're all really being offered at a grand scale to make now.
Yeah. Well, I think the cooperation versus being competitive is really, it's so huge in how we interact with one another. And there's still a need for leadership in that. I think some people think, oh, if you're in a co-op, then nobody's leading anything. There's still leadership. It's just maybe there isn't one leader all the time. There's just a rotation of leadership, and there's a sharing of power, so that there's no one person who knows everything, who's going to do this, who's going to. Maybe somebody's leading something, but that's just leading it. We all have to participate and cooperate to make it go where it needs to go.
Yeah, exactly. I was just talking about this today. My papa, which is just around, and I brought this up before, the round table concept.
Yes.
Like that's really where I want to be with all of us. Like, let's do this. That's
Yeah.
where we're all getting to. We're all wanting to be at the round table together, where it's an empowered table of all creative, amazing individuals. But it just is like, just logistically, we got to have jobs, or else it just gets crazy. So you do that job, I'll do this job. It's just a title, a
Right.
job that we got to do, because I can do that job. Let's pick a job. I could really do any job.
Right,
Which
but
one
it's
do you want
not
me to do?
about making one job more important or better.
Right.
Right.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
It's more that it's logistical. Jobs are about logistics. And about also, I love that each of us being a fractal, a hologram of the
Yes.
infinite, each has our own specific gifts. So if we're all really in authentic honesty and loving ourselves, then we look around and go, oh, well, this one, oh, Eila, this is so your thing. You would do this better than me. Well, you take that one. What's the next one? Oh, that's you, Bob. Bob, that's you. Okay, how about the other one? Oh, that one, I could do that one. Right? See,
Yes.
like, you know, it resonates and it's not egoic. It doesn't have it's not personal. See,
Right.
because we're all amazing. We're all amazing.
Right, but we all do come to this place with different gifts and skills we
Yes.
gathered through our life, talents that we may innately have. It's just different, where you're out teaching dance. I'm not going to be teaching dance anytime soon. It's not what I'm here for.
Right.
And if I go out and do that, I'm pushing something that's not natural for me.
Right.
And for the sake of what? Because I think I should do that. Definitely would be a should.
And then at the same time, be able to go, but celebrate like that. I do that, and that
Yes, let's come to your
each
class.
Other,
Yeah.
you celebrate each other without anything. Like, well, I don't do that, but I love that you do it. That's
Right,
great. Like,
right.
it has no attachment or bearing because we're just celebrating one another's gifts. Not like, oh God, you dress up like a clown. God, I could never. Right? You don't have to. You don't. I do. Whatever. And we'll just celebrate that.
Celebrate our
Our
uniqueness.
uniqueness. Right? It's not about you. It's
Yes.
about them. So great.
Celebrate your own uniqueness and celebrate other people's uniqueness.
Right.
Because that's what makes us all come together.
And we're
and
all
create
the
magic.
unique fractal. That's why
Yes.
you said in the beginning, we need you. Why? Because we are all exactly one specific part of God, the infinite. You're the only one. We're all
Right.
we're all an infinite fractal hologram of the infinite. So your specific gifts are specifically needed because we all that's that one piece. No one delivers it quite like I do it.
Right.
And quite like Eila does it. We're all a little bit different, right? And we need all of us for this beautiful oneness and unity.
Well, and we need us to be the best version of ourselves. We don't just need like that's my feeling.
Well, I want to say that's kind of a judgment because I have to also
Well, I'm thinking
accept-
about people who cause a lot of problems for other people.
For sure. And there's that. But at the same time, like what we were just saying, we have to understand that everyone's having a different reality.
Right. That's true.
So
That's true.
somebody might be having a lot of troubles. They might be causing trouble. They might be in trauma, which we'll look around the world. A lot of people are.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have a judgment about it or, well, they should be doing something. I instead want to, it's more of like, let's pray that all beings have what they need to experience love. Because the only reason they're experiencing that is because what we just talked about for the last hour of like wounding, they're wounded, they're experiencing programming.
Wounded, yes.
And they're activating programming.
Yeah.
So they aren't accessing their divine self because the programs are disallowing that. We're not using tools. They're not understanding those things, which is why that trauma is ensuing. So this whole place is actually that. And it's those that are understanding these things to plant those seeds, to use these tools to start navigating our own realities and taking ownership, because true freedom is true responsibility. It means that we're responsible in navigating ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. We are aware, conscious beings, understanding what that really means.
Yeah, and it's and like you say, we're all at different places, and some people are going to be more conscious about where they are, and some people are not. They're not there yet.
They're
Maybe
not.
they won't be in this lifetime. We don't know.
You don't know, and that's okay.
Right.
All you can do is, literally always, I just ask, like, I have nothing I can do. All I can just pray for. I just see them as having what they need. Love you.
Yeah.
If that's all I can do that day, great.
Yeah.
But I always seeing everyone, remembering everything and everyone as part of the unity, so we don't discard anybody. There is, like they said, nobody left behind. Well, that is
Yeah.
really in a deeper, more beautiful sense. Nobody left behind because everything gets to go to compost. We're not going to we're not taking,
Right.
we're not hauling
It's
any
not
of it to
nuclear
the-
waste.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
composting everything.
Right.
Composting it all back to the tree of life.
And we can start fresh. Every day is a new opportunity to start again.
Correct.
Yeah.
A choice that we each make by understanding the capacities we have by dismantling our ego and programming, by being honest and authentic with ourselves and acknowledging the things that, a lot of things have run us that we didn't realize. Start with turning off the TV if you haven't done that yet. Start with turning that off for a while and just what comes to you. Like go on walks, experience the wind, nature, let nature talk to you, ask. A hungry heart, he who seeks will find. Seek and you shall find. It's the truth. You will.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Within, right. And so. Absolutely. Yeah. I do want to read this, but.
Yeah.
But let's see. Go ahead, Eila.
Go ahead, Eila. What's Eila going to say?
I don't know. You have something on your.
No, I'm just kind of. I'm really enjoying the idea of celebrating ourselves and celebrating one another. We tend to save it for special occasions.
I wrote so in my garage. Next time you come over, I have a drawing that I did when I was 10. I won first place. It's fifth grade. I have it framed. It says, celebrate people. Aww. And it's a bunch of hearts and stuff. Yeah. So I have it there just remind, I've been like this my whole life.
Yeah.
I've been doing this since I was little. Come on, we're going to have fun. Let's do this. It's going to be fun. Let's all have a good time and be together and let's have fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, and for those of you out there who do want to have fun and live locally, I do want to encourage you to go to lavaroots.com. We've got a lot of fun events happening.
Yes, you do.
Jazz. If you like the Grateful Dead, we're going to have a dead show.
There's a lot of dead people around here.
Yeah, come out.
Yeah.
Dead people. And but be alive. Be alive.
Deadheads. Deadheads, they call them. Right?
But so lavaroots.com, you can find information there, and that would be really fun. So that's the thing. It's time to experience more joy, connect, have community, and support one another, and be as the unraveling of truth and things coming to light ensues. May we all just have really gentle, compassionate hearts with one another and be present to help one another to move through these interesting and pivotal times that we are so blessed to be living in.
We are. It's pretty amazing.
So this is the Lord's Prayer, a direct translation from Aramaic to English in 1892.
Okay.
And it's
Go
beautiful.
Ahead.
All cosmic birther of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out within us a space where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear the fruit of your mission. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance to our desire. Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which will divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, the power, and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole once again. And so it is.
And so it is. So we're going to end our show, and I want to remind people that you can find these shows on podcasts on Google, Spotify, and Apple by putting in KNKR and put in the words Intuitive Talk Story. And I've been sending quite a few people to Michál's YouTube channel. So if you want to have access to some really cool stuff, go to Michal Anna on YouTube, and you'll find that. That's a wonderful resource for people. And we will be back in 2 weeks.
Yes, we will. Yes. And it will be just about equinox time.
Yep. Yeah. It's always some kind of time.
It's always some kind of time.
I got to tell you,
I
saw an amazing rainbow last night.
I saw some of your pictures recently.
Oh my gosh.
Rainbows every day with all this rain.
Yes.
It's been amazing. And we live in rainbow country. So God's country up here.
It sure is.
The rainbows and
the combination of the sun and the rain and the wind and everything. It's amazing. So anyway, thank you.
But we
for
are
being
the
my
rainbow.
co-star.
So
We are the rainbow.
the rainbow of our colors, of our energy, radiating the rainbow, the promise, the covenant. So many metaphors going on.
I
with
love
the
that.
rainbow.
I was sitting in a chair the other day, and I have the crystal hanging with the sun coming through it, and I just had the rainbow. I was like taking it in and taking it into my hand. I was like, oh, just go right in there.
Yeah, exactly. The light, and that's
The light, the
we're
beautiful
all part
colors.
of the rainbow in a different flame and array of the rainbow. Each of us resonates with different rays too.
And I felt like I saw other colors in that rainbow yesterday
Beautiful.
that I hadn't seen before. So anyway, keep looking out there, everybody.
Enjoy.
Keep looking for the rainbows. Aloha.
Aloha.
Until next time.